Am I the asshole? For telling my family that this ancient geriatric mom has no time for their jealousy? Until me, anyone in my family who had kids did so by the time they were 27. Generally 21 was when my family members started having children. My parents were 19 when they started having kids, their parents were about the same age as well, and my siblings all had kids before 25. They also finish having children in their 20s and they are very conscious of that. I was the exception. I wasn't married or having kids in my 20s. This was something my family all highly judged me for because they knew I did want to have children. They all told me I was going to be so ancient when I had them, and they made a big deal about me being too old for having children and not being fair to the kids because I'll be old while they'll still be young, and how much better it is to be active and capable of running around after them and to be the active grandma when they have kids, etc. It was really toxic, and my husband, who was only a boyfriend at the time, was stunned by the attitudes of my family. I had told him how they were, but it really takes hearing the shit they spew for it to sink in. I didn't feel ready in my 20s despite my family's norm. We never had a lot, and financially it was a struggle. I saw my siblings struggling, and aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. That's what was normal, and part of that was they were all so young and having these bigger families, 5-7 kids average, and I personally think waiting would have helped that some. But do I judge them? No. I just wanted something different. I'm glad I waited. I had my 3 children at 33, 35 and 36 years old, and we are in a good place to raise them. I went low contact with my family for several years because the comments were no longer okay with me and they couldn't respect my decision to wait. The number of ancient and geriatric comments I got were crazy, and I was 29 when I went low contact. Recently my siblings, and my parents to a lesser degree, have been accusing me of rubbing their noses in vacations I take with my husband and kids and the gifts we buy. One of my sisters said her kids were mad that my oldest had their birthday party at the trampoline park and they never get to go. She told me I was really making all my nibblings feel bad about it. My mom told me I act so much better than them by taking my kids on vacations at such a young age instead of having them wait until adulthood like we all had to. The messages annoyed me until I decided to make a group chat, and I wrote to them that this ancient geriatric mom has no time for their jealousy and that I was not going to apologize for the decisions I made to wait or to enjoy being able to treat my kids. I told them if they could not stop, low contact would become no contact. They accused me of taunting them and lashing out unnecessarily. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. They are judgmental as hell, and jealous too. They made their choices, you made yours. And there is a difference between you actively rubbing someone's nose in something, like we're going to a trampoline park for X's birthday. Did I tell you about the trampoline park? Here's pictures of all of us at the trampoline park. Have you ever been to a trampoline park? That's rubbing their noses in it. Simply having a party there and inviting them is not rubbing noses. Now, their noses may be out of joint, but that's not your fault. You're good to go, LC. They sound incredibly toxic and jealous, and you don't need that bad energy. Not the asshole. You did the right thing by waiting until you were ready and happy to have children, instead of rushing having them due to some arbitrary age. Having children is the decision made between you and your partner, not your family. It does sound like your family is jealous of you, but that's due to their decisions, not yours. Their jealousy is their problem to deal with. It's their choice whether you go no contact with them. All they have to do is start being more respectful towards you. Time will tell whether they can get over themselves long enough to do that. How dare you provide for your children whatever your relatives couldn't for theirs? Let alone financial stability. But a trampoline birthday? Really? Bad up. Jokes aside, not the asshole. Seems like your relatives are jealous of your wise decision to wait for yourself to be in a comfortable situation before having children. They would rather prefer you to be as miserable as them, since misery calls for company. If they insist, you'll have to go and see. Not the asshole. You can't do anything right. You do what you want with your kids. And if they don't like it, they can ignore or unfollow your social media. Or not ask your kids questions about their vacations and birthdays. What haters? Not the asshole. This is just the reality of having kids at different stages and ages. Don't apologize for the decisions you've made which were best for you and your family. Not the asshole. You're giving your kids a life they deserve, and that's all that matters. Good job, mama. Absolutely not the asshole. Jesus freaking Christ, I want to cry just reading that sentence about 5-7 kids average. My primary opinion on how many kids someone should have is an amount that the parent can comfortably support so that the family is not left in financial hardship. And I'm sorry, but I really can't conceive of anyone who can comfortably support 5 kids nowadays unless they're well on their way to being millionaires. And even less can I conceive of being able to support them comfortably when they're having those kids so young. Not the asshole. How dare you not start pumping out babies before your frontal lobe is fully developed? How dare you take your children on activities that we can't afford for our own kids because we had them before we were financially stable? You were supposed to be a young, broke parent like the rest of us. Your family didn't make the best choices and now they're mad you aren't suffering the consequences along with them. Cut them off. They sound absolutely miserable to deal with. I really hope the nibblings follow your example and wait. At first I thought you were going to say that at 39 you were now ready to start having kids. But you had them between 33 and 36. Is that supposed to be considered old? Sounds like the right time to have children to me. I had my own at 32 and 34, and I feel like I could have waited a couple more years. Your family is ridiculous. Oh, no, I bet you even have college funds for your kids, too, you awful parent. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You have every right to live your life the way you want, and you should be proud of yourself for making responsible decisions that were right for you and your family. You're not responsible for their jealousy, and you have every right to enjoy the fruits of your labor and provide memorable experiences for your children. You set clear boundaries and made it known that you won't tolerate their disrespectful behavior any longer. Their accusations of taunting and lashing out are just attempts to deflect from their own insecurities and guilt. If they continue to harass you, don't be afraid to follow through with your promise of no contact. You deserve to be surrounded by people who respect your choices and support you, not those who tear you down for not conforming to their standards. 5 kids at 25 and then complaining because they can't afford anything. You're better off away from that nest of poor choices and bitterness. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They were jealous when you were on your 20s working for your future and enjoying your life. They are jealous now because you waited to be financially stable to have children and didn't have them when you were barely an adult.